I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Do we have any public comment today? Hearing none. We'll move to the minutes. Everybody get a chance to review the minutes. I'll entertain a motion. We need.
Motion to approve. I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? We have claims.
You should have claims in the packet in front of you.
Yeah, nothing really out of the ordinary. It looks like we just got a dumpster program as the biggest receipt, so, or the biggest payment, I should say, not receipt. So I'll entertain a motion on the claims as well.
Motion paid claim.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All righty. Financial statements.
Those are in the packet also.
Yes. I didn't see anything. This is. If wasn't a lot of activity, we're getting some decent interest. I notice we're getting decent interest for sure. That's good. Over budget, probably will be. If there's no questions on the financials, I'll entertain a motion on the financials. We're moving right along.
I'll make a motion to approve. Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Financials are passed. We have review and action on special grant agreement and mortgage for Bar Holdings LLC, 14816 Lincoln Way. Is our old business item.
That document was sent to you in a separate email, and there were two documents.
So if I can add a few things to that, just so everyone's aware. You've seen this general agreement before because we've used a very similar version on previous special grants. Obviously written specific to this agreement, which is dealing with 814 to 816 Lincoln Way. The one thing I want to make sure I note for you that will be a change, suggesting that you or that we consider approving this tonight, both the special grant agreement and the mortgage that is an exhibit of that agreement. However, acknowledging we're going to have a change. So if you look at section 5, it references that our mortgage will not be subordinated to any other lien or mortgage. That's not going to be the case. The bank is going to be in the first position and we're going to be in the second position. I just don't have the language as we sit here today. So I think as a practical matter, we'd rather approve the agreement as it's written. As their lending comes through, the bank will submit an amendment to us with the specific language that they'd like to use. And ultimately, we can approve that at a subsequent meeting, which will amend both this agreement and the mortgage. And it is no surprise that we're going to subordinate our mortgage to the banks. We've done that on previous deals. Between Attorney Hagenow and I, we just don't have that information, so I can't write it as it stands right now. Happy to answer questions about that if you have them. I don't think there's anything else really in here. I did note all of the desires of this board are included in this agreement, including the 3-year ownership of the property, the timeline for the improvements, obviously the building codes and zoning for them to comply with all of that. And and I'll be happy to answer questions if you have them.
What was the amount on that again?
So it's a $150,000 grant overall. $75,000 would be paid to their lender, and they can access that via their draw process as they would through their lender. And then 75 at the completion of the project when the city engineer has inspected the final product and signs off on it.
And to that point, you'll add, do you add that to the back end, like, once we approve it? So just for the record, we approved the grant already. It's just that we had to follow up with the agreement. So, and then you'll add it to our new business grants under the approved, okay, section, okay. So, so yeah, we just need to approve the documents, the mortgage and the, development agreement. So I'll entertain a motion for that. Motion is second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That agreement is passed. We still had pending, so are we moving on this? This one's been on here a few months. Are we,
I haven't called reprographic arts about signs.
okay, and this is still something we want to do, correct? So can we try to do that before? Okay. So we'll get this hopefully taken care of next month. And then new business, downtown art projects.
So I'll handle that, Mike, if that's okay. So Julie West isn't here today, but Mayor Dermody brought together a group of individuals, including Julie, Craig Phillips, our city planner, the Lebesnick Center, to consider a variety of projects in the downtown area that could potentially add to the aesthetic downtown. From that came 3 specific projects that I'd like to make you aware of today. So the first is a sculpture in Plaza 618. The second is a mural on a yet-to-be-determined property, but I believe it's actually going to be on Dr. Boonme's property here on Jefferson, just kind of kitty corner from us. And then some window designs on downtown buildings that are currently vacant. So working through the Lebesnick Center, and we appreciate Janet Block and her team because they've done the vast majority of this legwork. We've kind of determined the parameters for each one of those projects. The hope is that all could occur this summer, ideally before the 4th of July. And asking the UEA board to consider funding those. So the coordination will go through city planning and the Board of Public Works, but potentially the funding would come through this organization. So tonight I want to ask you to consider, because we don't have all of the final numbers yet, a not to exceed of $50,000 for all projects, $50,000 total, which would fund all of those projects. The only project that is ready for your consideration tonight is the sculpture, and I can pass this around. This is the agreement which is not yet approved, but will be in front of the Board of Public Works at their meeting next Tuesday. So the cost on this project is $3,000. So it's $1,500 within 30 days of the commencement date, and then $1,500 at the conclusion. It is a 2-year, it will be in the Plaza 618 for 2 years. And obviously we have a base that's already been built where the Christmas tree goes. So it would utilize the existing foundation that's there. The city, one of the departments at the city will remove the sculpture for the Christmas period, which is November through January, when the Christmas tree goes up, and then would replace it after that point. The way we came to the $50,000 not to exceed number, again, just using estimates, we do know $3,000 for the sculpture. Expectation on the mural is it'll be somewhere between $30,000 and $40,000. It could be less, depending on what has to be done to the building itself. And then the window designs, we have no sense of how many, but it's a fairly inexpensive material that goes on the windows. Local artists would potentially design what's going on there, and then maybe, reprographics or another company could potentially print the, I don't know if you call them decals, but the decals that would go on. City's done that on some other projects as well. And so we've got a of $7,000 number on that. That's how we get to the 50,000. So would ask that, I just would open this up to your consideration, your thoughts on this. We would not move forward with any project until it's brought, the individual project is brought back before you, and you can ultimately vote on a very specific endeavor as opposed to this larger sort of global project. Happy?
Are we funding half or all of it?
We would be funding all of it. We're the only source of funds for this, correct? Yep. I don't know the address. So Dr. Boonme is right, I'm pointing now, but right through the wall here. It's on Jefferson, maybe 3 buildings over. It's the large kind of building, that you can see from the front door of City Hall. I'm not sure. It is on, it's on the north side of the street, correct.
It's right, it's off the parking lot of PNC, that next building, right?
I believe that's right. So he's a dentist. It does need, I just caution, there are steps that still have to occur before that's the decision. I know he had inquired about doing something like this in the downtown, so that's a really positive. I think they're going through the process of selecting an artist and making sure the artist and the building align with one another, and then determining the preparation that has to occur on the wall in order to make sure that what's being put on the wall is long-term and doesn't have any trouble. So my guess would be you'll probably hear more on that at our next meeting, but I don't have that ready today.
Is there anything that we're voting on today, or do we want to just approve this in scope and then send the specifics to the board via email for vote, or how do you?
So if the board was vehemently opposed to this, I'd like to have that info just so I can make sure that we don't, we let that group that's working on these projects know that this isn't gonna be a source of funds for that, just so they're not wasting their time. But if you're supportive of it, would like to move forward with the sculpture tonight because that's ready for approval, and then would potentially just come back to the board when the mural project is ready or for consideration.
And that would come out of the special projects grants?
Yes.
Okay.
For those that, I don't know if anybody's been on the board, I'm sure Bert was, I don't know if Cassie was, when we did we funded the mural at Plaza 618. It was probably, I can't remember the exacts, Mary Ann, but it's probably close to 30,000.
Yeah, not the whole thing.
Yeah, but, right. But we did, but the whole project was probably close to 30,000 in scope, I think, and, because there was some wall prep. There was wall
The
prep
Visual
and those
Arts
kind of things.
Council received donations for that, right?
Yeah, 'cause I was gonna say, if we don't do it, who would fund it? Probably nobody.
There's no source, right?
Yeah, it was funded through like the arts, but I think they've extinguished their funds, so. So yeah, I mean, is there any other comments?
What is the mural, or I'm sorry, not the mural, the sculpture?
I'll pass it around. I'm not,
Crazy that's gonna cause.
no, I'm not the most artistic person. There's a picture of it there. It's the,
If it's you, yeah, we're in. I'm in.
Ryan's personal profile.
I don't know how anybody could take that and
right,
put that.
right. I don't think so either. It fits with the size. We were given, the Lebesnick Center provided like 6 different options, and that group kind of picked through those and found the one that they thought was most appropriate based on size and design.
So I have a question, do we have to vote with the max on this project of 50,000?
No, I don't, I'm not asking, I wouldn't say, again, I wanted to present it to you to make sure I got your thoughts on it. This particular one, the sculpture, the agreement is between the Board of Public Works and the artist, so that'll be presented to them, but they're gonna ask me when I present it to the Board of Public Works where the funding source is, so that one I would like you to approve, or at least consider approving the 3,000, and then we'll bring the others back when we have more info.
I'll make that motion.
So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the sculpture? All in favor?
Aye?
Opposed? So let me ask a question. We work together, but we don't talk to each other. So basically, the timing on the other is, we're a month away. So I mean, summer's coming, so are they going to need do we need to vote possibly via, or it could?
I think, so I'm comfortable, first of all, we do talk to each other, we just don't talk about things like this. I don't think so. I get this sense that we're about 30 days away from having like a complete proposal on the mural. And so I would intend to just bring that back with all of the details ready to go for consideration at the next meeting. I just, as we sit here today, I don't think we're far enough along for us to really ask or to discuss in more depth. But I think 30 days or so is about the right amount of time.
All right.
If we do next meeting, will they have that done by the 4th of July?
Well, tell you, I think that's a fair point, but Vicky, you know our mayor, the timeline was determined by the mayor, not the artist. So if we don't make the 4th of July, I think that,
2025.
yes, true.
But the sculpture could be up.
Oh, the sculpture should be up by then for sure.
So who do I talk to find out who to make the initial $1,500 payment to?
It's all in this agreement, so once the Board of Public Works approves it, I'll get a copy to you, and then everything is included. The artist's name is Tim Adams. Lives in Webster, Iowa, and all of his information is here. So I'll probably ask that you reach out to him and let him know that, we're gonna be moving forward once they vote on it.
You know, it's a shame they can't have it somewhere where they don't have to keep moving it at Christmas time.
Yeah.
Frankly, that was the most challenging part of this because the artist lives in Iowa, so he will ultimately oversee the installation and the removal of it, but I don't think it would be fair to ask him to come back and,
And then who do we have moving it?
right.
And where do we store it?
Yeah, so those are details that I think the city, because it is, as per the agreement, it is the city's responsibility, so we probably have to count on them to work some of those details out.
All right, we did vote on that, so it's approved, correct? Okay. Yeah, just be nimble if something changes to where it gets pushed up. Obviously, you understand the scope of the next project, so. We'll go to new business B, Parks and Rec Department proposed grant changes. We do have an approval of a line item for the parks for $40,000. Mark Schreiber sent something to both Mary Ann and I. He wanted to, one of the projects that he had listed, wasn't gonna be able to be accomplished this year, so he wanted 2 other projects, and I need you to confirm, because I completely drew a blank. There was wells, there was some drainage, actually, I remember what it was, some drainage, and then also the infield work at Ron Reed Field in Fox Park. Both projects are in the zone in Fox Park, so he's basically trying to reallocate, I think, similar funds. He'll stay within his budget no matter what it is. It's just that we normally in November, he gives us priority items, if everybody remembers, and says, hey, I would like to do these projects based on the zone parks. And that switched up due to timing. So I would like to get a motion to approve the reallocation. Even though it is within the budget, it's sort of changing the scope of what we initially approved. And that was it. I think it was 2. I think there's drainage issues on certain areas over there at Fox Park, as well as the infield needs to be redone, so.
So it's the same amount, just some different.
I don't know if it's the exact same amount. I think
So where are these,
it's at Fox Park.
big Fox Park?
Yeah, Ron Reed Field is in Fox Park, so,
But our contribution remains the same regardless.
yeah, we're not gonna go over the budget of 40,000. If for some reason he,
Already listed to begin with.
right, yeah.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion and a second.
I did.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's passed. We have 2 community enhancement grants. These are the $500 grants for events, marketing, those kind of things within the zone. One is the 4th of July Parade. I think everybody's aware of that one. And one is for Lake Fest. I think the specific event was the run.
Last year, we funded Kiwanis did a run.
It is now,
Part of Lake Fest.
it is now Boat for the Heart. So that's the run that they want to utilize it for. Kiwanis is given up. I'm part of Kiwanis, but we have given up our run to Play for Jake and Bolt for the Heart. I believe that's the request. It was in the packet. We'll start with the 4th of July. I think everybody knows the 4th of July, so basically they're asking for $500 for an event, but then,
Fest is just for 3 days of music, art, food, and fun.
Motion to approve the community enhancement grant for the Kiwanis 4th of July parade.
motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
So as Mary Ann said, oh, that's approved. So, any opposed? No, it's approved. Community enhancement grant, I'm getting way ahead of myself. Lake Fest, so it's all the events basically at Fox Park. So they have concerts, there's a vendor, event there, there's a run, all that stuff takes place at the Dennis
And we're
Smith
named as,
Amphitheater.
the UEA is named as a sponsor for that if we choose to.
Yeah, he did make mention that we would be on some things, but basically the lowest sponsor level was higher than $500. It's like $2,500 for the sponsors that they do for the entire Lake Fest, which is all the lakes. So he would give us some recognition as far as $500 on, I believe, the event, or a couple of the events over there, so.
Didn't we talk about at our planning meeting that we're looking to encourage more community enhancement grants, right? We've kind of, they've
We
trailed
didn't
off.
do hardly any last year, but yeah. One.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the community enhancement grant for Lake Fest as well.
Motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I think this is what we talked about a couple meetings ago, like sponsorship requests. I think this sort of takes that place for events that happen within the zone, so it's a good fit. All right, so change up, change of day and location of June board meeting, it fell on Juneteenth, which the city offices are closed on that day. So we need to reschedule. I mean, I prefer to just do it here, but just do it maybe the week before or the week after, if everybody could look at their calendars for, I guess Mary Ann and I didn't really recommend a date, but let's, so the week before. So we've got June, the date normally is the 19th, so if we went to the,
We can't do the 12th, Mike.
yeah, we cannot do the 12th.
And we can't do the 26th because the
Yeah, we have a couple.
RDC.
RDC meets, yeah.
What about the day after, the
How about, how about-
22nd?
You said like the day before, day after? What's the calendar look like on? Jeez.
The 18th or the 20th.
What about the 18th? It's like the Tuesday before our normal meeting.
Yeah.
So let's just make it, everybody here can make that? All right, so let's make it 4 o'clock on the 18th here in City Council Chambers. If for some reason City Council Chambers is taken, then we can host it at our office or at a different location. Let's try to keep the same date, though. All right, so that's good there. Is there any other business to discuss?
I think Mary Ann sent an email out, but we received that we had 2 invoices that were long past due. We got both those checks?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, so every incentive's been paid, so that's a good thing, so. Anybody wants to go watch our Leap Olympics dodgeball match over at the YMCA here at 4:30? It should be interesting. So if you want to jump in and take a shot at the mayor with a dodgeball, please do. But with that, we're adjourned. Thank you all.